My name is Ernesto and I'm with Navigate.company. I've managed over $500 million in real estate transactions. I don't say that to boast, just so that you know you're learning from someone who has gone through the fire. Today, I'm going to be talking about culture within the property management world. That means if you're a landlord, aspiring property manager, or a property manager, I'm going to give you a few tips on what it looks like to run a typical day as far as emphasis on culture. The first big one that we're going to go over today is documentation. In our agenda, I literally have it laid out 3 times to make an emphasis on how important this is that we document everything that we do. So document, document, document. Now, one of the things you need to keep in mind as a landlord or as a property manager is you need a source of truth. What do I mean by that? You need somewhere where you know that you are centralizing information and the details of the day-to-day operation. So if a team member or a resident or an owner has a question, you know where to go, but also for those of you who are looking to scale, more importantly, you know where to point your team to. That is extremely important if you're thinking about the longevity of property management. The next point that I want to emphasize as far as culture is concerned, and a lot of you managers and leaders are going to completely understand this, that is meeting on time and well prepared. You cannot give margin on these things. You have to keep your team focused and you need to have an agenda prepared and ready to go. Some of the things we identified during that meeting time is a timekeeper and also a note taker. That's going to take you further longer. The next important tip that I have for you is teaching your team to exhaust all of their options before they come and ask you for help. So a lot of things that we do as a culture is we have a one-on-one. Week in, week out, we meet one-on-one with our property managers, leasing managers, doesn't matter which role, we have a one-on-one meeting with each and every team member. A few things that we go over is their daily workflow. Each of our team members have a daily workflow. They understand the different functions that they're over day in and day out and the different tasks that they need to be visiting in order for them to have a successful day within their role. The next big tip for creating a good culture within your property management company is full circle communication. I harp on this during our meetings, and I know my property managers are tired of hearing me say it over and over again. We need to remove the mystery in our communication. That means no ambiguity. We need to be clear and concise about what we're communicating. I'll give you an example. If a resident or an owner reaches out and has a question, it doesn't matter what the question is about, your response cannot be a one-sentence response. It needs to have a few things. It needs to have an introduction, a little nicety, the body, and then the closing, and of course, more importantly, the next step. Because what happens is we communicate in a way that we just assume people understand what we're doing, how we're doing it, and when we are doing it. We need to be clear in our communication. We need to inform the resident, hey, this is when you can expect a call back. This is when I'm going to reach back out to you. Now, you may not always have the answers instantly, but you need to be able to acknowledge and also communicate with your other team members, clients or residents, vendors, it doesn't matter who it is. It's important to establish a culture where we understand what that full circle communication looks like, and you're managing the follow-up extremely well. You have a whole entire follow-up folder in your inbox, and you work out of that follow-up inbox to ensure that you're coming full circle on any of your items. The next big one, and I'm always surprised and shocked on how many property managers, landlords miss this big one, and that is understanding priorities. Here at Navigate, what we've done is we've created a priority scale. We go from PL1 to PL5. PL5 is, hey, we're not in a rush. You can take 5 days to respond to this or 5 days to address this. Then we have it to go all the way to a PL1, which is we need to solve this today. Make this the highest priority on your list. But more importantly, you have to understand your priorities. Far too many times I see people working on things that they shouldn't be working on within that moment. You have to understand how to bucket things, how to isolate it. I get it, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. I know the saying. However, in order to protect your time, you need to be able to understand your priorities and communicate in that way so you can create healthy boundaries with the individuals around you, no matter who they are. The next tip for creating a good culture is encouraging your team and yourself to make better personal touches. What that means is you're doing something different above and beyond just sending an email, right? Maybe you're recording a video explaining an estimate or a bid or explaining comps. Not everyone knows the language of real estate. We have to be able to figure out ways to simplify in a relational manner. I'm telling you, this is the ticket. As a company, we want to make problems go away. That's why you're here. We want to make sure we're not overlooking our problems, that we're not underestimating our problems. We need to be ahead of the curve when it comes to solving problems. That's part of a manager's responsibility, is to be able to equip your team with the knowledge, the training, the coaching, and the confidence to be able to make a decision to make a problem go away. Problems have to go away. Problems go away. Next up is measure what matters. Do not bog yourself down in the minutia of the day-to-day property management tasks. They can be overwhelming. We are managing spaces where people are living in and doing life in. That's why it's very important that we focus on what matters the most. Measure what matters. We'll make another video about talking about what we measure, what we know is the most important thing that property management companies and landlords should be measuring so they know what a successful portfolio looks like. The next tip is start with your protocol and then move to judgment, okay? If you don't have a protocol in place, you need to go back and start with that. What is your playbook? What are your SOPs? How do you typically handle these situations? SOPs and playbooks are going to cover 95%. Most of the time, things are going to run normal. But when that 5% presents itself, you have to make sure you know how to solve those problems. So you go from protocol to judgment, right? So your team should always be going to the protocol first. When they've run out of options and the protocol is no longer applicable, then you move into your judgment. Dig deep into the plethora of knowledge and also lean in on your team or the people you know to help you make a good decision. And last but not least, create healthy boundaries. Boundaries. If you want to live stress-free, if you want to be stress-free, listen, if you want to be stress-free, you have to create healthy boundaries. You cannot be someone who's available 24 hours a day, okay? You're going to have as many gray hairs in your beard as I do, okay? Make sure that you're communicating, make sure that you're taking good breaks, okay? Because this is your livelihood, right? This is your career. You have to be thinking about healthy boundaries when it comes to communicating with residents, when it comes to communicating with clients. Create those healthy boundaries. What hours are you available? Are you available over the weekend? Are you available past 6 o'clock? Are you available at 6 a.m.? What are those boundaries? Figure those things out for yourself and how you want to run your operation, whether you own and manage one property or you have a team of 15 property managers. You have to have healthy boundaries and you need to encourage your team and the people around you to do the same thing. Thanks for tuning in to Navigate.company. We talk so much about so many different things, which is super cool, but specifically real estate investing in North Texas, okay? Whether that is purchasing a hold property, a buy and hold property, or whether that's renovating a property, leasing a property, or property management, this is where we spend the bulk of our time. Check out Navigate.company for more resources. Also, fill out the form on Navigate.company to receive free resources and be part of our newsletter. There's so much content and so much information in there you would absolutely love. Thanks for tuning in.